Hello, my name is Ben, and on this YouTube channel I document my own print-on-demand journey. I had a few questions about on which print-on-demand websites you can actually have multiple accounts. Now, for me personally, it doesn't really make sense to have multiple accounts on print-on-demand websites because most websites that support that and that allow that, they will still say that even if you have multiple accounts, you can still across all your accounts, you still have to stick to the upload limit, right? So, for example, Redbubble, what they say, and I will go through the different websites in a minute, but for example, what Redbubble say is that if you have two accounts and the upload limit on Redbubble per day is 60 designs, then, for example, if you have two accounts, you can only upload 60 across both of them. So you could only upload, let's say, a maximum of 30 on each. You can only, if you exceed that, you risk that your accounts get banned. So even if you have multiple accounts, you will not be able to upload more. But maybe that's not your objective. So if you have a need for two accounts or more, then there are some websites which allow you to do that. But I will show you the main ones and briefly talk about their account policies. So as you can probably see here, the first one I'm going to start with, that is Spreadshirt. Spreadshirt have stopped people using multiple accounts for various reasons. That change was implemented in January this year. So they say here they've got a single account policy, and they say from the 19th of January this year, this single account policy started to apply. So across the European platforms, for example, and it is the same for North America, you can basically have only one account on each of these. So they say they allow one account on the European platform and one account on the North American platform. Then they say why it's good for you. They basically say it's about tax reasons. They want to make sure that they have it all under control. Now, I don't know, but you can only have one account. If you have more than one, you should contact them potentially and let them know, because if they find you to have more and you haven't notified them, then they might ban you. I guess that is what could happen. So, but if you think setting on Spreadshirt and you want to have more than one account, it doesn't work. All you can do is have one on the European platform and one on the North American platform. What about Redbubble? Redbubble allow you to have multiple accounts. So they talk about that, you can have multiple accounts, but what it means is that, as I said before, if you want to upload more than the 60, it doesn't work. So you can only, across your accounts, you can only upload a maximum of 60 per day, which is a lot, to be fair. But I know there are people who used to upload 400 when they still had a very high upload limit. But anyway, so you can have more accounts than one if you want to. Just make sure that you put all your information in correctly, so they know that you're not trying to play the system. What about Zazzle? On Zazzle, yes, I think you can have multiple accounts. I haven't found any clear information on that, but what they do is they have a limit of 100,000 products, 100,000 published products per account. So what they say down here is this 100,000 product cap is per account tax ID. If you have more than one account associated with a tax ID, then the 100,000 products will apply to all of your accounts collectively. So you could have, because they don't necessarily say here you are not allowed to have two, you could have two accounts, but then again, across all your accounts, you have this maximum limit of 100,000. Yeah, so if one of them has 30,000, the other one has 70,000, they will hide any design, I think, which is uploaded, which is on top of these 100,000, and they've got an automated system here, which there they say the automated system will automatically set a number of your least popular designs, those with no page views, no sales, or the least recent published date, to hidden. Yeah, so there's no point in uploading then if you have those 100,000 reached, but they allow you to have more than one account. Let's come to KDP. As you can see already here, these are the terms and conditions on KDP. They say no multiple accounts, and it's pretty clear. So they obviously say that you must have all your information on there correctly, and you're not allowed to have two. Now, what you could potentially do is to open a second account if you have a business. And so that means you could potentially open one account under your business name and one account on your in your private name. So for me, for example, that would mean I've got a limited company in the UK, and my KDP account runs on that runs through that limited company. So all my company profits go into the company. I could potentially open a second account in my own name if I wanted to. Maybe I will do that one day. But yeah, even if you do that, I think I wouldn't use the same laptop. Yeah, I would try to use a VPN for the second account. So to make sure because I don't want to risk my KDP account, which is actually the reason why I don't have two, because one is in the business name. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have a second one in my own name, and my wife could also have a third one then, if she wants to do it. But I still think there's a little bit of risk. I don't know. These accounts are worth a lot, honestly, and I don't really want to risk it. So, you can go a bit slower maybe, rather than having two accounts and trying to push it too much, and then you risk your account get banned. Even though you do everything correctly, if you have a separate legal entity set up as a separate company, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have a second account. The same applies on merch, by the way. If you want to have two merch accounts, you can have one in your own name, one in your business name. Everybody needs to decide if it is worth setting up a business just for a second account. But if you have a business anyway, for example, a limited company in the UK, or I think they're called LLC in the US. I'm not 100% sure, but generally a private limited company. If you have one of these for any other business, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to open a second account on that, because you've got all the costs for accountants and everything anyway, depending on the size of your business. So in the UK, for example, I pay roughly £400 per year for accounting services. That's pretty much my only cost of running the business, because to set up a company costs only like 15 or 20 pounds, which is nothing compared to other countries like Germany, for example, where it's quite expensive to set up a limited company, a GmbH. It costs a bit of money, but here in the UK, honestly, it is quite cheap. And even people who don't live in the UK can do that. But if you do that, I'm not a specialist in that. You obviously have to speak to an accountant in the UK just to make sure you do everything correctly. But there are companies who help you set that up. It doesn't cost much. I think you only pay like $50 or pounds if you want to have someone else set up the company for you. There are agencies which are really good. I had my business set up with them as well. And but then you can have two accounts, and that applies to all platforms. So theoretically, you can have 3, 4, 5 companies, and you could all have a separate account, right? Which is great. Don't know why not many people do that, but if you have enough designs, why not? And then the last one is Society 6. So Society 6 definitely do not allow you to open multiple accounts. They say here that we believe there are acceptable and unacceptable cases for multiple accounts. They do allow you to have multiple accounts. They say there's acceptable cases when someone would like to delineate between different mediums, for instance, an illustrator who is also a photographer, right? So you could have one account with, let's say, just illustrated designs, and another account for just photos. But then they say there are also unacceptable cases where someone creates multiple accounts to gain an unfair advantage. Now, whatever that means, they are not very clear about that, which is always difficult, because you could have two accounts. Then someone of their admin team seems to think you're trying to play the system, even though you have two, accounts for legitimate reasons. They might not even contact you, and they might just ban your account. So, is it really worth doing? I don't know. Potentially, they say here, if you have one account for your photos, one for your illustrations, it might be acceptable. Generally, I think at the moment I wouldn't risk it. I think it's very attractive to open two accounts if you have one, let's say a company in your own, not in your own name, but a company with a different name, maybe even a different address, and then you could have another account in your private own name. That is something I might look into in the future, because, you know, why not? It's two different entities. I've got my limited company that is for my online business in general, and it's totally okay to have a second account then in my own name, because it's completely different tax ID. I pay taxes differently on both entities, and yeah, everything that goes through the business doesn't belong to me anyway. It belongs to the business, and I'm only the director. Okay, so hopefully that video was useful. If you want to learn more about other platforms, let me know which platforms you want to know about. If you can have 2 accounts. There are obviously many more. I didn't go through all of them, but I went through the main ones, I think. And hopefully the video was useful. If you liked it, then please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on my print-on-demand journey, then subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.